One of the things I noticed that I really like about Kelly is his ability to play the ball in the air. More specifically, and we'll look at this in some other plays, how he plays through the receiver's hands. He really has a knack for that. I think he's unusually good in that regard. He's at the bottom of our screen. Watch him off the ball. Inside arm jam. Reads the route, and he gets his near hand or his close hand in the chest of the receiver, widening the route. See how he has his helmet turned? Finding the fade. Cuts off the receiver. And good ball skills, once the football's in the air, makes a play on it. Makes that look easy. Watch it again. At the top of our screen, I really like what we see on this play. He's such a natural disruptor at the catch point, playing through the receiver's hands. Another thing that I really like about him, and it shows up on this play, and I'd say it shows up consistently, is his ability to turn and find the football when it's in the air. I like how he low shoulders this route to cut off any kind of back shoulder throw. Once the receiver turns his eyes to the football, so too does he. You'll notice this looks like the most natural thing in the world to him, not at all forced or panicked. Watch it again. At the top of our screen, they do take a shot one-on-one on the outside at him. Ball's underthrown. See the receiver come back to the football. How often do we see that? That there's a offense or a defensive pass interference call when that happens. But even more often, what we see is the defensive back running full steam into the receiver. I like his body control here. I like how he turns to find the football. In fact, he does find the football. That speaks to what we were discussing earlier. How good and natural he is at finding the football when it's in the air. Even though he gets called here for pass interference, I saw a different angle of this play, and it looked like it could have gone the other way as well. It looks like the receiver pushes off before Kelly makes any contact. We'll look at him again in the Senior Bowl, off man. And this isn't, you might not consider this a high pressure situation. I just want to demonstrate how precise he is with his hands, how precisely he plays the football when it's in the air. And sure, this ball isn't thrown well. Sure, this is not a high pressure situation in the way that an actual game is, but I think it's something that shows up consistently. And as I said before, I think it's something that's pretty unique. A lot of guys can play the catch point. He just has a knack, hand to eye, finding the football, stripping the right arm, playing through. This play, on the other hand, is a high-pressure situation. First and goal, one-on-one versus Drake London. London runs this quick out. I think, by and large, Kyu does a good job having a feel for the receiver, having an eye to the quarterback in these situations. Notice as the receiver's eyes go round, he doesn't immediately look to undercut this route. In other words, just because the head is around, he could very well bend this back to the corner. He's a bigger receiver. And as the ball's in the air, again, the word that occurs to me is precision. Finds the football. You see him deflect the football and then play through the catch point and then get a little piece of it on his way down. I think precision is the right word. Again, I think that's pretty rare. Much has been made about the Drake London, Kyu Blu Kelly matchup from 2021. It is a great matchup to watch. That was the second game of the year in 2021. Big matchup, obviously. He plays with such a level of intensity, getting off blocks, throwing his body around, trying to make tackles. And in this matchup versus London, I'm not sure I saw that in any other game I watched. Now, I've only watched 5 or 6 over the 2 years, but the intensity you see in this matchup is different than the other games. And I find myself wishing it was something I saw every game from him. We do hear it said about wide receivers coming out into the NFL that they need diversity in their routes. They need to work on route running, all the cliches. What's interesting about his coverages in 22, you don't see a lot of different coverages. You do not see a lot of variety of routes being run against him in 2022. A ton of goes, some comebacks. We'll see him here again in the Senior Bowl. These are the sort of routes I didn't see run against him. It's not an easy cover, obviously, one-on-one out here. But you can see the receiver gets him on his heels, beats him inside on a quick in-breaking route. He's coming across the top of our screen. He's man everywhere he goes on this motion receiver. They used him a lot that way. Implicit faith in him as a man cover. I'm not sure he's asked to cover man everywhere he goes as a Raven. At the top of our screen, a violent jam at the line of scrimmage. Does a good job recovering, getting through this trash, these cross routes. Quarterback has plenty of time in the pocket. Does a good job closing any bit of separation the receiver has off the line. And with the quarterback having that time, you see how vital this jam at the beginning of the route can be. Kansas State 2021 is an interesting game. We see him used inside, covering the slot. He was also used in this game covering running backs out of the backfield to the flat. Although in this game, you see him over number 2, eyeing number 3, sniffing this thing out, causing the quarterback to widen the throw, and really making a nice play, blowing this up in effect. Will be zone coverages and match coverages that he's asked to play with the Ravens. I think he's going to need a lot of work in that regard, and it's due in no small part to him not being asked to play a lot of it in college. A lot of press man, some off man coverage, not much in the way of zone stuff. I think that's true of a lot of corners coming out due to the system that they play in college. 4th and 19 versus Arizona State. This is I think a little concerning that he's being targeted here. You can see him allow the inside track. Gets out of our screen a little bit. This is 4th and 19. They're down by 1 point. I think he believes he's got some help over the top, but this is a clear read of 2 by this safety. I don't know how he gives him the sideline here. Luckily, the ball is thrown out of bounds, or they're going to lose this football game. This is a still image of that last play. You can see him giving up way too much track along the sideline and then being late in turning to run with this receiver. Here's another example of Arizona State taking a shot at him in man coverage and converting on a 4th down throw. Good body control by the receiver along the sideline. In a lot of ways, he's a very polished and professional and seasoned-looking corner. I do worry about his deep speed. I do worry about not seeing him defend a lot of routes, which is a strange thing. But if you watch 2022, you don't see a lot of variety of routes run against him. He will need to be coached up in match coverages and zone coverages. Again, that's not unusual for corners coming out. It's possible we see him in certain situations as a 3rd cornerback this year, because he's such an experienced man corner. But I think he'll be best served with safety help over the top.